YouTube, we're cooking again. Stay tuned, we're making Italian spaghetti sauce. Alrighty YouTube, and welcome back to Fern Valley Farmer. On this channel, we're pure country. A lot of different ideas, different thoughts, a lot of recipes, farm stuff, everything. And today we are cooking again. You like the hat? I know. When I cook, I gotta have a hat. People keep saying, why didn't you get white? I didn't like white, I went blue. Blue is my favorite color. So anyway, we're making spaghetti sauce. Excuse me. Although my family calls it gravy. I'm 100% Italian, a little history here. I'm 100% Italian. Both my parents, their parents came over here from Italy a long time ago. Obviously they're not here anymore. So you can't get any more Italian than I am. So, and this recipe here has been pretty much the same thing throughout my family. I got this from my mother, what she got from her mother, what she got from her mother, which was my great-grandma. So this, my aunts, my uncles, everybody would cook holidays, spaghetti. Everybody would always have pasta. We have some kind of meat, we'd always have pasta. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, or whatever. It was always 4th of July. Whatever kind of family party we had, it was pasta. So this recipe is pretty much the same thing. It's pretty much what everybody did. It's been tweaked a little bit here and there. My mother tweaked it from her mother tweaked it from her mother. I've tweaked it just a little bit, but basically the same idea is the same. Why am I calling it gravy instead of spaghetti sauce? From what I've been told, depending on what part of Italy you're from, I don't remember which one, if it's the north or the south, some parts of Italy call it spaghetti sauce, some parts of Italy call it gravy. My family always called it gravy. And I talk about this, people say, you're going to put gravy on spaghetti or pasta? I said, no, it's sauce. We just call it gravy. So what I'm doing here, I'm going to show you guys how I do this. This is pretty complicated, there's a lot to it. I'm sure you don't want to watch me cook for 2-3 hours here. What's in this pot here, it's on low, I chopped up about 8 cloves of garlic. You're going to think, oh my God, that's a lot. It really isn't. When this is all cooked, you don't even really taste it. It just gives a good flavor. There's about 8 cloves of garlic chopped up or minced, fresh garlic, a little bit of olive oil. Put the garlic in the pot with some olive oil, and then just cook it. Don't let the garlic get brown. Just cook it till it starts. You can smell it. When you smell the garlic cooking, then you're done. Then I actually did a video on canning tomatoes. It's on here. I put a whole quart of canned tomatoes in there. You can go to the store and you could buy, canned whole tomatoes. If you buy them from the store, buy whole peeled tomatoes. Don't buy them with the skins on it. Buy whole peeled. These obviously are my tomatoes that we canned last summer, or this summer I should say. When you can, I'm going to do a bunch of different canning videos every time I can something, because canning is great. It lasts forever. You just keep it stored in a cool, dry place. You could have it for 2, 3, 4 years, and it's fine, as long as it's sealed properly, but that's a whole other subject. So anyway, 1 quart of fresh tomatoes, or 1 big can of whole peeled tomatoes, or 2 cans. It really doesn't make that much of a difference. So after the garlic is cooked, you can smell it cooking, you can hear it sizzling just a little bit. You turn the stove down just a little, put the tomatoes in. Then, we've always used Cantadina tomato paste. This is what my family always used. This is what I use. This is really good. What I do is I take 2 big cans of tomato paste, scoop the tomato paste in the pot, and then 3 cans of water, cold water. I use the cold water. If your water in your house is hooked to your water softener, you don't want to use hot because then you get all that salt mixed in. So I just use the cold water out of the sink. There's no salt. The water softener is not hooked up to the coal on the sink. So 1 large can of tomato paste, 3 cans of water. Then I do another large can of tomato paste, 3 cans of water. And then I do like a medium can of tomato paste. I just put the paste in there. The way this comes out when it's done, it's a little watery, but here again, this is just the way my family always did it. This is the way I'm used to eating it. Some people make meat sauce. There are all kinds of different ways you can do this. This is just the way we do it, and I just wanted to share this. So it's a little, it's really liquidy. It's not really thick. And here again, that's just the way I ate it my whole life. My whole family always made it that way, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, so the tomato paste is in there. 3 cans of water, 3 cans of water, no water. That's in there. Now what I'm going to do, and believe it or not, I have this written down. I've been making this for, I don't know, what, 25, 30 years, and I still look at this every time I do this. Salt, pepper, some sugar, and I put 2 tablespoons of salt. Normally I don't measure with salt and pepper. I just kind of, when you cook, you just kind of put it in. But for this, because I like to kind of come out the same every time, so I just do 2 tablespoons of salt. You're going to think, oh my God, it's a lot of salt. It really isn't once all this cooks. 1 teaspoon of pepper. Don't overdo it on the pepper. If you overdo it a little on the salt, that's not that big of a deal. But if you overdo it on the pepper, you're going to taste it. So this is actually a tablespoon. I'm just going to obviously do half. Just a tablespoon of pepper, that's it. Or teaspoon, I'm sorry, 1 teaspoon of pepper. That's it. Sugar. With the sugar helps take some of the acidity, if I'm saying that right, out of the tomatoes. And here again, it adds flavor to this. But the sugar helps take some of the acid out of the sugar. So I'm doing 3 tablespoons. And here, it doesn't have to be exact. You can see I'm just 1, 2, 3, that's close. You don't want to overdo it on the salt, obviously, because it'll get really salty. And I did that by accident one time, and I'm like, oh, a little too much salt. Here again, you'd think I wouldn't have to look at this as many times as I do now. I've been doing this like forever. Just get this all stirred up. This is actually going to simmer all day. It's what, 11:30 in the morning. I usually, whenever I do this, I always try and do it before noon or so, and I let it just sit on low all day. Don't boil it because you don't want it to burn. The tomatoes or the paste will burn on your pot, so you don't want that. And then what I'm going to add. Hold on here. I'm going to put basil in here. The way I do this is I coat, and believe me, it's not bad when it's all cooked. I coat the whole top of the pot with basil twice. So I just take the basil. This actually I gotta do it this way. So I'm going to do this 2 times. This will take. I bought this and I hate this thing. I need to get the other kind. This one takes forever. I'll do this last. But I'm going to do 2 basils. Every time I put a layer of basil, I stir it. Do another layer of basil and I stir it. So I'll do the oregano now, but that's fast. So I'll do the oregano. I'll coat the whole top of this once. I'll stir it. And then I'll do it again. And here again, it's not as strong as you might be thinking. If you try this, you should like it. I've never had any complaints. I just coat it. I just give it 2 coatings. It's not as strong as you might think by adding all that to it. It's not bad. I've never had anybody complain. Everybody always says they like it, unless they're lying, which I don't think they are. I've done this for parties for my farm, for my customers. I've made this, and everybody's like, every year, you're going to make spaghetti or make gravy. I'm like, yep. So anyways, then what I like to do, I got on the stove, I turn this off now. I've got, in this pot boiling right here, I've got beef neck bones, or leg bones actually. Those are actually leg bones. But you could use neck bones from beef, you could do pork neck bones, beef leg bones, just any kind of beef. The beef, when it cooks in the gravy, I just boil it a little while. I boil it just for a little while just to take some of the grease out of it. I boil some of the fat out of it. I raise my own beef, so there's really not a whole lot of fat in this. But I boil it just a little while, just so you can see some of the fat, coming off. I don't know if you can see that or not. See some of the fat coming off the top of it. Then I'll pull it out, and I cook that in here. Now, a couple things my family always did, which I don't like. They'll cook pig's feet in there. I know, right? Don't want the pig's feet. So they'll cook pig's feet in there. The neck bones are good, actually. Beef neck bones are really good. The meat is really good. The pig's feet, no, I'm okay. I'll pass on that. I've never even tried it. I used to bring friends over to the family's house sometimes. I'd open the pot of gravy and be like, oh yeah, so like, oh my God. Yeah, so the pig's feet, I'm good on. But if you like pig's feet, you can throw that in there. Pig's feet, neck bones, any kind of meat, it just adds flavor to the gravy. Another thing I'll do too, which I haven't made that yet, I'll show you guys when I make that, is I make meatballs. I just make homemade meatballs. And what I'll do is I make the meatballs, I'll put them in the toaster oven for about 15 minutes just to kind of brown them just a touch. I'm not cooking them in there. Then I put them in the gravy and I cook the meatballs in the gravy. That will cook them fully. And here again, you get all the flavor from the beef in with your gravy. And when all this is said and done, you don't really taste any of that. You're tasting the flavor, but it really tastes like spaghetti sauce. So that's pretty much how it comes out. And then I will cover this, and I will let this simmer all afternoon. We usually eat around 5. So I will simmer this all afternoon, and just stir it periodically. Just let it simmer. Don't boil it. Don't rush it. Just take your time. Just let it go all afternoon. You don't have to do it. That's just the way I've always done it. You could shorten that time up, obviously. I just do it all afternoon. It makes the kitchen smell good, and that's it. I think I've got everything. Here again, I have to look at my list because I've been doing this for like 100 years. Oh, actually, another thing that I use, which I'll get, I put bay leaves in there. I'll put 3-4 bay leaves in there. That adds flavor to it too. So you can tweak this however you want. But it basically always comes out the same if you kind of make this recipe here. And if anybody wants the recipe, I'll put it on. I'll put it on the bottom of this video. But yeah, I'm going to throw some bay leaves in there. I forgot about that. See why I have to look at my cheat sheet? And that's it. And I will put the meat in there. I'll make the meatballs in a minute. I'll show you guys, and we'll put that in there. And so good. We'll be back. All right, we're cooking the meatballs now. Meatballs can be made so many different ways. I mean, you could do whatever. This is just the way I do it. I think it tastes pretty good. People have always said they liked it, like I said, at parties or for Christmas. I'd have a barn party for my customers. I used to make a big pot of this. Everybody always loved it. So, but you can make meatballs. There's a gazillion different ways to do it. This is just how I'm doing it. 1 pound of ground beef. Like I said, this is homegrown beef. There is nothing in this. I know exactly what's in my beef, and it's nothing but corn and hay and vitamins, which is kind of nice having your own. So there's hardly any fat. There's like if you were to put this in a pan, like for tacos or whatever, which I have a video on that coming actually, there's like no grease whatsoever. You buy a pound of store-bought beef, put it in the pan, and start to cut it, like just fry it up. You got a ½ inch of grease in the bottom of the pan. It's crazy. I can't believe it. But no, so there's nothing in mine. So anyway, this is my homegrown beef. I got 1 pound of beef, and here again, you can do whatever you want to do to it. And like I said, I'm going to let this cook in the gravy. I'm going to put it in the toaster oven for maybe 15 minutes just to kind of just harden it up just a hair. You don't even have to do that. You can make your meatballs, make them whatever size, and you can just very carefully just set them in there, and then wait about 15-20 minutes. And in the hot gravy, it'll toughen them up, and then they'll cook in there, and then you'll get all that flavor in your gravy. So I think just pull the lids off all this stuff here before I get my hands. I'm gonna just do something different here. I got minced onion because I've cut up onion before and put it in there. I seen this in the store the other day, so I just grabbed it. It's just this minced onion. I think it's really similar to like when you go to McDonald's and you get a cheeseburger and it's got the processed onions. Kind of the same thing. It actually smells like that. A little garlic powder, a little pepper, salt. I like using sea salt. It's better for you. Don't ask me how to explain it why, but it is better for you. And parsley. So put a little parsley in there. Sometimes I use fresh parsley. If I'm at the store and I think about it, I'll buy the fresh parsley. I'll put that in afterwards. All I'm going to do is take the ground beef, just kind of mix it up. A little bit of breadcrumbs. And of course, Italian style breadcrumbs, right? It's got the seasonings in it. Add that to it. That kind of dries it up a little bit. And then I just add some sea salt. I like to mix my stuff twice. I just do it twice. Let me get the breadcrumbs stirred in here. And yes, I did wash my hands. So, a little bit of sea salt. That's enough of that. Some minced onion. This is something new, so I'll be curious to see how that tastes. But it smells just like the onions you get at like when you go to McDonald's and they put the onions on the cheeseburgers. When I was in high school, I worked at McDonald's and they take the onions. Those are like dried onions. They put them in water. That's how they turn moist. I remember those days. So I'll do that twice. A little minced onion. A little garlic powder. Here again, you can do whatever you want. You can do this 100 different ways. There are so many different ways. I like to add a little bit of spice to it, a little bit more flavor. Some recipes I've seen just salt and pepper. And that's okay, that's kind of boring. We want to tweak this a little bit, right? So I want to put a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of pepper. Now don't overdo it with your pepper. That's one thing. You do too much pepper and you're going to taste it. So I don't do a whole lot of pepper because you will taste that. Stir this all up here. It's barely coming out. It's not a lot. A little bit of pepper. Then what I'll do is I'll take 1 egg. Unfortunately, this isn't one of my eggs because I have chickens out here. I did a video on that. My girls aren't laying right now. In the middle, when it starts getting cold like this and the days are short, they hardly lay any eggs at all. If you get any, you're lucky. You'll get maybe one here, one there. I had to go to the store and buy eggs. I haven't bought eggs in the store in I don't know how many years. Anyways, take the egg, crack the egg open. What the egg does, in case you don't know, the egg just kind of helps hold it all together. I know my daughter wanted eggs the other day, and I'm like, okay. And she said they're white. And I'm like, yeah, it's not ours, and she didn't want it. She's like, it's not one of ours. I'm like, nope. There is a huge difference. If you know anybody that raises chickens and has eggs, buy them. You'll love them. Yeah, you'll love them. They are so much better than the store-bought eggs. So anyways, that's a whole other topic. Okay, meatball now. I'm going to do, there's not much parsley left in this, so I'm just going to shake it in my hand. I forgot to buy parsley, so there's not going to be that much. So I'm just going to, just enough. Parsley adds good flavor to it. It's really better if you use the fresh. The fresh parsley really gives good flavor to it. And one little trick when you're buying, if you buy parsley fresh or cilantro fresh, anything like that, if you take it and put it in newspaper and stick it in the fridge, it stays fresh a whole lot longer. My wife taught me that trick. Actually, I think I have enough. I don't want to overdo it. Yeah, so you could take fresh parsley, cilantro, anything like that, any kind of a you know, green type stuff like that. Put it in newspaper, put it in the fridge, it'll stay fresher a whole lot longer than just putting it back in the bag. Okay, so that's pretty much it. The only thing I'm going to do different here is I'm going to add a little bit of milk to this, just to moisten them up just a hair. And here again, personal preference, you do whatever you want. Just add some milk. It kind of makes them just a little bit more moist. I don't like them real dry. And that's it. All I'm going to do now. So that's how the meatballs come out. I'm going to put this on. I'm going to put this on the sheet. Oops. One little tip: you could spray that. You could spray that with a little bit of spray vegetable oil, olive oil, whatever. And sometimes they'll stick. You put that on there, they won't stick. So anyways, just take them. This usually, if you get them the right size, will make a dozen. 1 pound will generally make a dozen. Some people use an ice cream scoop, which you could do that. Here again, we're Italian, we cook with our hands, we talk with our hands, right? So we are going to cook, we are doing it the Italian way. We're using your hands. It's like when you make salad. You mix the vinegar, the oil, everything else, you mix it by hand. You get both your hands in there and you stir it up. So, yeah, this will usually make about a dozen. Depending how big you make them. If you make them smaller, you can obviously get more of them. I just make them bigger. And I am going to put these, like I said, in the gravy. These are pretty big, so I'm not going to be getting a dozen, which is fine. I don't need a dozen. There. Get all this. When you add the milk to it, it really makes them sticky. Yeah, it makes them really sticky. See that? I'm wasting so much, not wasting it, but trying to get it all off my fingers here. Okay. There's the last of it. Let me wash my hands again, obviously, here. Hold on 1 second. Let me just rinse my hands off. So now we're going to take these. Let me just separate it just a little bit. I am going to put these, I don't know if you can see this over here or not. Let's see here. Right here. I am going to put these in the toaster oven. 350 for about 15 minutes. Just cook them just a hair, just to kind of stiffen them up just a little bit. Like I said, you can put them right in the pot, right here. You can put them right in the pot and they'll cook just as good that way. I just like to get them a little brown. Some people like them, like my wife likes them a little brown on the outside, which is fine, it doesn't really matter. So anyways, okay, we will let the meatballs cook. I should be back in about 15 minutes. All right, the meatballs are done. Let's take them out. That was a quick 15-minute, wasn't it? All right, you can see they're just kind of barely cooked here. Let me turn this camera a little bit here. They're just cooked just a little bit. Just enough. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in here. We're going to put that right there. It's kind of nice when I have a camera person. And I am going to take this and just add these right to it. And here again, I just washed my hands. Set these right in. And they will cook the rest of the way in here. Here. And that's it. Let me see if I can bring this camera over and I can show you guys what this looks like. And this is just going to simmer now all afternoon. Let me see if I can do this without giving you guys a headache here. Hold on. Let's bring this over here. Let's zoom out first. There it is. Let me zoom in here. And that smells really, really good. So let me put the camera back over here. Alright, so we'll finish cooking this. This should be ready. Oh, this is going to simmer all afternoon. I have to put the lid back on. This is going to simmer all afternoon. And I will show you the finished product. I'm going to make raviolis actually today instead of mustacholi. I like to have mustacholi, no lines. I know it's weird. What's the difference, right? Mustacholi, spaghetti. I like my mustacholi without lines. There's mustacholi that has lines in it, and there's mustacholi that has no lines. I like the no lines. I know, it's weird. Okay, this will be ready, and I will show you the finished product when we're done. All right, we'll see you in a little bit. All right, we're back. The ravioli is finished. We're going to pull the ravioli out. We're going to put the gravy on it. We're ready to eat. So let me pull this out. One little tip when you're making pasta, when you're making any kind of pasta, if you add some salt to the water, that helps with the flavor. And if you put a little bit of oil in the water, that'll prevent it from sticking together or sticking to the bottom of the pot. Maybe a tablespoon of, I just put vegetable oil in. I just pour a couple of blurps, and then I put some salt in there. That'll add flavor. You can cook your pasta to however you like it. I like my pasta overdone. Some people like it al dente, which is just past, just like 2 or 3 minutes. I like to overcook it. I like it, I just like my pasta overcooked. And when I'm done with my pasta, I always rinse it in cold water. Now let me dump this out. Dump this out. And I will get this on the plate. I'm right here. Give me 2 seconds here. Hold on 1 second here. That's it. Boy, too bad you guys can't smell this. If you guys try this, let me know. Leave me a comment if you try this recipe. There we go. See, now I got extra, I can freeze this too. So this has been simmering all day, and it's ready. The meatballs are done, the leg bones are done. It smells really good. Take it out. There she is. So like I said, try this and see what you think. Let me know if you like it. There's the meatballs. And that's it. Let me focus. Let me zoom this in so you guys can see that here. Can you? Let me zoom this in. Hold on. Let me tip this camera down. It's hard doing this by myself. And there it is. Do the same thing with pasta, spaghetti, mustacholi. One of the good things to do is put the hot giardiniera pepper on. This particular, there's all kinds of different brands. You pick the brand you like. I like the hot. Nothing makes pasta better, or even like Italian beef, than hot giardiniera. I love it. Little cheese, put some Parmesan cheese on it, and that's it. So these guys need to try this recipe. Let me know what you think. Let me unzoom this camera here. Hold on. Tip the camera back. Try this. Let me know what you think. This is really easy. It just takes. I like I said, let it simmer all day. That's just the best way that I do it, and it seems to work. So, anyways, hopefully you like it. Please try it. Let me know what you think. Got any questions, comments, leave them. Consider subscribing. Support the channel. A little bell next to the subscribe button. Click that little bell. You'll get a notification for the next recipe or anything else that comes out of Fern Valley Farm. So until next time, YouTube, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.